done was a 22-year study from the University of Penn and entrepreneurs and professionals. And Ross, I think I might have shared this with you. And they asked, imagine a 22-year study asking 350,000 entrepreneurs and business people what they think about most of the time. It's a simple question. What do you think about most of the time? Well, the results were amazing. And it's just something to really just listen to here. The results were this, that if they asked 350,000 people that are entrepreneurs and business people over 22 years time, those that were in the top 10% in terms of income and growth, they asked them, what do you think about most of the time? And their answer is they think about what they want and how to get it most of the time. They think about what they want and how to get it most of the time. In other words, the preponderance of their thoughts are in that groove. What do I want? How do I get it? What do I want? How do I get it? That happened, moving along. That's in the past. What do I want? How do I get it? What do I want? How do I get it? That's it. Most of the time. What's the most of the time? Well, it's definitely 51% or more, but it's probably more like 80 or 90% of the time. That's an interesting answer there. Gives us some insight. So do you want to be in the top 10% or something else? And they also think about where they're going and how to get there most of the time. So now we know the truth. 350,000 people, that's enough of the sampling, and over 22 years, they think about what they want and how to get it, and they think about where they're going and how to get there most of the time. So that begs the question, how do unsuccessful people, what do they think about most of the time? Unsuccessful people don't think the same. The groove of their thoughts goes somewhere else. They think about what they don't want most of the time. I don't want that. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be unsuccessful. But they think about that all the time, what they don't want all the time. And they also think about things they're worried about most of the time, things that worry them. That's the preponderance of their thoughts. Worry and things they don't want. And they think about things that happened in the past that make them angry most of the time. What they don't want, things that worry them, and things that made them angry from the past most of the time. That's their default mode. And they especially think about who is to blame for those circumstances most of the time. So top people think about what they want and how to get it. Average people think about what they don't want and who's to blame for it. So that is really important. Only if we desire to be in the top 10% of, and that's not, that stat is not the most important thing here. It's just interesting to know that if we want to have our thoughts fall into the groove of the positive side of the equation, most of the time, how it got here was based on our programming. But what are we going to do? Go back and yell at mom and dad? Unhelpful. Again, that's going right back to the blame part, which is I'm mad about this from the past, and I think about that all the time. No, we think about what we want and how to get it most of the time. And so there are tools that we use as those that are aspiring to go after things to remind us of what we want most of the time. There's a section in my coaching program that I'm creating on wealth and abundance and prosperity, and I was researching different ways of leaning into wealth consciousness. And while there's my volume is going down. There's got to be millions of ways, but I wanted to find the best ways. And something called the 51% tilting point. Essentially, what it means is that when you think about wealth and abundance, a minimum of 51% of the time, you've shifted this, you've tilted the scales in your favor in terms of attracting wealth and abundance into your life. And if you think about lack and limitation for more than 51% of the time, you're sliding down the other side. And so you're working yourself upstream. And so what the exercise is all about is putting yourself in proximity with wealth and abundance most of the time, noticing abundance everywhere you go most of the time. Your reticular activator, that section of your brain that is there, the RAS, designed to basically block that which is unimportant, so we don't drive ourselves mad. Otherwise, everything is important. So it just basically cuts away the noise and brings us into just clear attention to the things that we are focused on. And so in this exercise, it's being aware and focused on abundance everywhere we go, going around, going around yachts, putting ourselves in proximity to nice hotels, being around nice automobiles, whatever the thing is that you're going after. You got to put yourself in proximity to it, touch it, feel it, smell it, be around it. It's no surprise that if we're aiming to be somebody that has a net worth in the millions, and you hang out with people that have net worth of $10,000, it's impossible to get there. You can't get there from here because your subconscious is programmed to see lack and limitation everywhere around you. Whereas if you hung out with multimillionaires and billionaires for a year or more, you're going to start to think differently, and you're going to begin to think that the streets are awash with wealth no matter what, because you're around it all of the time. These are all tied